It's two shows in one, the Superhero Comic-Con and Car Show, August 4th through the 7th, in San Antonio at the Freeman Expo Hall, presented by Thomas J. Henry. It's a Comic-Con with stars like Ewan McGregor, Haley Atwell, Simu Liu, Giancarlo Esposito, wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan, Arrow's Stephen Amell, Dave Bautista, and many more. Plus a massive Hollywood car show with 45 awesome cars like Batmobiles and Transformers Optimus Prime. Tickets available at pmxevents.com.
All right, Pickle. Let's get some headlines from across the state of Texas. You may remember the last time that we did headlines. We sat here and we said, hey, boy, there's reports out there that Texas and Oklahoma are not going to be joining until after their contract expires after the 2025 season.
And they said, okay, they reported it on Texas Football Today. Now we can scrap
them.
that plan.
We can get them. Go back and run back the tape, because we did mention that it is possible that this was a negotiating tactic between these. And it turns out it was.
Yep.
Texas and Oklahoma will leave the Big 12 and join the SEC starting in 2024. They will pay a combined $100 million to the Big 12 and its television partners in order to make them right. From what I understand, and kind of listening to smart people who are on the inside of this, it sounds like what was really the hang up was that Fox, which has the Big 12, did not love the idea of them losing a year of Texas and Oklahoma to ESPN, who has the SEC. Basically.
Which, seems to make sense, dollars and cents wise.
Right. Like if ESPN owned everything, this would have been done yesterday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
makes
Because
sense.
it's all going in the same bucket.
Yeah, it's not competing networks.
And so then they ended up coming to an agreement. It will be about $100 million that they will pay out to the 8 legacy members. So, I'm sorry, Houston, you don't get any of this money. But TCU, Baylor, Tech, and all of them will get payments from Texas and OU to make them right.
I genuinely would love to, and this is obviously way above the information that we have, I would love to see a report of the amount of money that Texas and OU bring in, average-wise on a particular year, to see how much that $110 million, really matches that.
Right.
Are their rights literally worth that much? Did they lowball them? Did they highball them? I'd be interested
I would
in seeing
say,
that.
my guess, is that Texas wouldn't agree to this if they didn't feel like, we're going to make that back in a minute and a half.
Exactly.
And certainly they're going to get a nice payout when they move to the SEC, which is kind of the whole purpose of them going. So this will be the only year of the 14-team Big 12. This will be the only year, because then they'll lose him, and then there will be back, amazingly, in kind of a roundabout way, to 12.
I was going to say, it only took 10, 15 years, but we're finally back to Big 12.
Hanging on to that naming convention finally paid off.
We had to go down to 10 and back up to 14 to land at 12.
Hey, they're going to be 12, and there you go. So that is the biggest news to come out of this, is that there's going to be a reduction in revenue for those teams, and the $100 million is going to help make them whole. But Texas will only have one. This is their last year in the Big 12, as they will be moving to the SEC starting in 2024. Sad news out of Stephenville at Tarleton. As Mark Martinez, a Tarleton athletic assistant football coach, was killed in a motor accident on Friday morning. He went to 2011 after graduating from Hewitt Midway, and then never left Stephenville. Standout linebacker, a 2-time All-Lone Star Conference pick, led the team in tackles during his senior season. He then transitioned to the coaching staff, where he began assisting with the linebackers. He was their full-time linebackers coach starting in 2017. So very sad news there. There's been a GoFundMe that's set up for his family. He's survived by he was 30 years old. He's got a wife and 2 daughters that he leaves behind. So if you have the means, on TexasFootball.com we have it linked. But Tarleton assistant coach Mark Martinez sadly killed in a car crash this past Friday. Speaking of small college football, I would like to congratulate our small college insider, Corey Hogue. This is true. When we went to Houston, he said this to me, like without a shred of joking in his voice, without a shred of irony or anything like that. He said to me, quote, "It's really stressing me out that I don't know who Waylon Baptist is going to hire," end quote.
Yeah, and he meant it.
He meant every word.
Like every staff meeting after that statement,
we kind of brought it up as like a joke.
Yeah, we've heard nothing but like, it's killing me that I don't know.
But it really was.
I think it was keeping him up at night.
It was keeping him up at night. I think he was really stressed.
Yeah.
Well, his long nightmare is over.
Like, this is like a month or two.
Oh, yeah. No, it was open for a while. But Waylon Baptist has promoted their defense coordinator, Marcos Hinojos, to be their head coach. Butch Henderson resigned back in November. Hinojos has been there at Waylon Baptist since 2015 before being elevated to defensive coordinator. You may recognize that name. Texas high school football coaches or fans may recognize that name. He was the head coach at Plainview for 4 years before he moved over to the college football ranks there. But Marcos Hinojos is going to be the next head coach at Waylon Baptist. So congratulations to Waylon Baptist and congratulations to
Corey Hogue.
really happy for him. Really happy for him. This was some news that I believe our own Greg Powers wrote on TexasFootball.com. You file this under Rich Getting Richer. DeSoto has picked up a pretty heavy-hitting transfer, and that is Midlothian Heritage wide receiver TJ Pride. His name's Antonio Pride, but he goes by TJ. He's transferred to DeSoto. He was a star for the Jaguars this past year, 730 yards and 9 touchdowns receiving. And it's going to be an offensive unit that's going to look pretty good for the defending champs. DJ Bailey, their quarterback, is going to be back. And although they are in need of some help at the wide receiver spot, Jonte Cook is gone, Cedric Harden is gone, Dalen Jones, Trey Wisner, and Crimson Mathis all gone to the next level. But certainly having TJ Pride back there is going to help them as they get a big-time pickup on the in a transfer from Midlothian Heritage. TJ Pride will play at DeSoto for his senior season. On the high school coaching changes front, you can find all the coaching changes at TexasFootball.com.
And there's a lot of them.
Courtesy of our own Matt Stepp. It's coaching change season.
It's step bomb season.
So Plano has been looking for a coach for a hot minute. Todd Ford resigned right after the 2022 season. He's leaving education, from what we understand. Plano has hired Cody White. Cody White is a former Denison head coach who has spent the last 11 years at Brentwood Academy in Tennessee, where he was 103-27 during that time, 4 straight state championships from 2015 to 2018. They had 4 other state semifinal appearances. I mean, they are a powerhouse in Tennessee. But it sounds like, from what we understand, Coach White wants to move back. In fact, he's excited to come back home to Texas. And he's taking over one of the largest programs in the state with, of course, a great pedigree there at Plano High. And so Cody White, the next head coach of the Plano Wildcats, we will see how things shake out there. But he, of course, he was the head coach of Denison from 2007 to 2011. Went on a state semifinal run back in 2009. So, yeah, that's big news out of Plano, as Plano's the new head coach is Cody White. So keep an eye on that. Speaking of coaching vacancies that have kept our staff up at night.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cedar Hill has finally made a hire. You may remember that Cedar Hill has been looking for a head coach after Carlos Lynn resigned back in, December?
Yeah, I was going to say it's been at least 3 months. Close to
I
it.
don't know, yeah, probably close to 3 months.
I think it was at the very end of November, to be honest with you.
Might have been. And Carlos Lynn resigned. He's since gotten another job. He's at Crowley now. But they have a new head coach. They have hired Midlothian Heritage assistant Nick Ward to be their next head coach. He is a Dallas guy. He went to Seagoville High School. You may know his brother. His brother is Kyle Ward, the defensive coordinator at South Oak Cliff. That's his younger brother. This is big brother. Nick Ward is. And yeah, he was most recently he's got ties to Cedar Hill through he first of all, he had a tremendous playing career.
Yeah.
He played in the Arena Football League. Before that, he played for the Miami Hurricanes. So he had a terrific playing career. He then got into the coaching world. He was in Cleburne under Coach Casey Walraven, moved to North Mesquite, then to Dallas Lincoln, bounced around. He was Midlothian. I'm sorry, this is Midlothian, not Midlothian Heritage, I should say. That's my bad. But Midlothian, his lone year, he was an assistant on their defense, which went 12-1 and was fantastic. So Midlothian's assistant, Nick Ward, is the new head coach at Cedar Hill. It will be interesting to see how all that shakes out after a long, it
was strenuous.
A very long and kind of stressful process there at Cedar Hill. But they have their guy, in Nick Ward, the Midlothian assistant, become the next head coach at Cedar Hill. Bounce down to the Austin area, where Austin Del Valle is looking for a head coach. Bobby Acosta, on Thursday, told his team that he is resigning his post. He's going to become the offensive coordinator at an FCS program. I have not spotted where that is.
He was at IMG beforehand?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Let me see if I can find it real quick on a Twitter search.
Because I remember he came over from IMG to take this job, which was very notable.
Yeah. So Bobby Acosta, was at IMG before he made it to Del Valle, where he was and helped them kind of. He goes 4-16 in 2 seasons there. But yeah, it was a really big deal whenever he took over that job. But Austin Del Valle now looking for another head coach as Bobby Acosta stepping down. We will, as soon as we find out where he's going to land, he said he was going to become the offensive coordinator at an FCS program. When we find out, we'll report that. But for now, Austin Del Valle looking for a new head coach. Also looking for a new head coach is Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is looking for a new head coach as their head coach, Brad Willard, is stepping down to become the offensive coordinator at Tyler Legacy.
Did this one surprise you a little bit?
It's interesting. He's got a connection. Bo Trahan was hired to be the next head coach at Tyler Legacy, right? The former Tulsa quarterbacks coach, former Texas quarterback. He has ties. Coach Brad Willard does have ties to Bo Trahan. He was a grad assistant at Baylor with Bo Trahan. So they have some ties, and he told our own Matt Stepp that he's really excited to coach with Coach Trahan again. Excited to see what they're able to put together offensively. But yeah, Mount Vernon is now open. How do I put this? Mount Vernon's been really good the past couple of years. They're graduating pretty heavy. Yes. And I'm not saying that he's running away. What I'm saying is, I think the opportunity to become the offensive coordinator with a guy that he knows, there at a 6A school, was pretty tempting. When you add in the fact that Mount Vernon may be graduating pretty heavy, I wonder if that's kind of all those pieces. Again, this is me speculating. I haven't talked with Coach Willard, but I do wonder if that kind of all fits together.
Well, and a lot of times
it's rather shocking, though. Remember, he took over for our Bryles there, and they have been really good. He was 23-4 in 2 seasons there. Yep. I mean, they went 9-3 this past year, but we've talked about that. It really doesn't tell the whole story because they were cooking, and then Mackenzie McGill got hurt, and then the offense kind of went from unbelievable to only pretty good, and
the defense couldn't keep up.
Yeah, exactly right.
I was a little surprised by that. It also too, there's a lot of times I feel like when head coaches are coming in from college and dipping into the high school ranks, their goal is inevitably to get back up to that ranks. And a lot of time, if you kind of partner up with them and stick with them, your chance, maybe Willard is also looking to go to the college ranks at some point.
We'll
yeah, interesting.
We'll see. Anyway, Mount Vernon looking for a head coach after Brad Willard is going to be the offensive coordinator at Tyler Legacy. Staying out east, Henderson has made a hire. Henderson, really, since you've worked here, you haven't known Henderson as like a powerhouse, but they used to be they used to be, like, in a lot of ways, chief challenger to, like, Carthage out there for East Texas.
Yeah,
supremacy.
And now they've just kind of been, second or third in the district,
the past year was really, they really struggled. I think they got bit by the injury bug pretty well. They are looking for a new head coach. and they found it in Clay Baker. Clay Baker is leaving Price Carlisle to become the next head coach there at Henderson. Baker's been at Price Carlisle since 2008. He was an assistant under his coach, under his father, Rocky Baker, who was the head coach there for 13 years. He got promoted in 2018, went 12-1 in his first season, and then this past year in 2022 went 11-2. I'll just say this: one, Baker's a Henderson grad, so this is a homegoing for him. Mm-hmm. He gets an opportunity to coach his alma mater, which is great. I think Price Carlisle is going to be a pretty attractive job.
Yep.
And I would keep an eye on that. I think Price Carlisle has a good pedigree and good facilities and a good situation there. Mm-hmm. It's
just an attractive place to live, period.
I would anticipate there to be a pretty sizable group of applicants for that job. Finally, let's go down to the coast, where there's been a little bit of movement. Sweeney has made a hire. Clayton Odom, you may remember, is out. He resigned after 2 seasons. He's going to be an assistant coach in KDISD. Mm-hmm. And Sweeney has gone and hired Jay Seibert, the head coach at Rockport Fulton, which I think is a terrific hire for them. This is a guy, Coach Jay Seibert, has 12 years, as a head coach, including, I believe, the last 10 there at Rockport Fulton. He's 83-56 overall. I will always remember Jay Seibert at Rockport Fulton. If you remember when Hurricane Harvey, mm-hmm. Rockport Fulton was, I mean, you don't want to throw this word around, but it was like ground zero for that hurricane.
Yeah,
they got hammered.
It got
devastated. And Jay Seibert was able to not only hold the program together, but they made a run to the regional semifinals mm-hmm. that year. That is probably his like shining like A1 on his resume. Mm-hmm. And so the other thing that's interesting, keep an eye on this. So Jay Seibert has a son, Ace Seibert, mm-hmm. who is a really good-looking quarterback, who is now going to make the move with him to Sweeney. So that's big news. So Sweeney picks up not only a great coach in Jay Seibert, but also a pretty darn good quarterback in Ace Seibert, and Rockport Fulton is now open.
I'll be very interested to see how he pushes facility upgrades down there at mm-hmm. Sweeney, because there's a lot of, like, their softball and baseball fields are awesome, but the football field needs some work to it. So I'll be interested to see if that's a top priority or not.
I mean, hiring a coach like Coach Seibert to me indicates that they're pretty serious about football. So anyway, there are some headlines from across the state. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.